In 2023, the term budget graphics card is not one that we're hearing too much of. Sure, Nvidia likes to think that their $400 bottom tier card is a budget-friendly option, but my wallet would beg to differ. And the bummy thing about that is that Nvidia just doesn't care, right? They just don't care. They're getting their money anyway. Now, last year, Intel had dropped their Arc lineup of GPUs, and while it was not off to the best start and still isn't, frankly, they are the most budget-friendly modern option when it comes to the GPU market currently. But what if we go back a few generations on Team Green, let's say 2017, 2016 era? That's what we're looking at today. Two budget options, one new, one old, both tested on the channel in the past few weeks. In this video, we are going to be comparing the modern Arc A380 to the old GTX 1050 Ti. Blow for blow, dollar for dollar. Which of these two cards should you buy if you're looking for a budget option for gaming? First, for a point to the A380, AV1 encoding is sick. It's available on that card. The GTX 1050 Ti, not so much, does not have that option. But if you're looking for a card for gaming purposes only, which of these two should you go with? For the purpose of this test, I'm leaving the benchmarks out of it, and we are simply going to look at gaming performance, the raw gaming performance of both of these cards to see which one performs better. Similar settings, test performed on the same test bench. Ryzen 7 5800X, MSI Pro B550 motherboard, 16 gigs of DDR4 3600 speed RAM, and all the games are run on a Western Digital Black NVMe drive. All of these games were also performed with the exact same settings to see, blow for blow, which card is going to perform better. Who will win? Who will fry up? Let's first find out by checking out Counter-Strike Go on high. Now in Counter-Strike on the high preset, the Arc A380, depending on where we were in the map, 160 seemed to be the lowest our frames would go, with around 270 being the high around A long. This is all on Dust 2. Now the 1050 Ti was a very similar situation, dropping down into the 160s and staying above 200 most of the time around the A and B sites. No clear winner here in my mind. Both ran very similar and offered a very playable experience. Although we could maybe throw a point to the 1050 Ti considering the age of the card, being able to keep up with a brand new unit is very impressive to me, actually. Again, both very playable experience. If you're just going to play CS, I can't speak on how CS2 is going to play on either of these cards, but my guess is it would be less good than this with all the new smoke and, you know, the new engine, the visuals and everything. I don't know how these two cards are going to fare. Maybe that's something we test out down the road. Next, we played some Halo Infinite on both of these cards on the lowest preset. The Arc A380 handled the game like a champion with an average FPS of 61, a minimum FPS of 51, and a max FPS of 70 on Bazaar 1.0. The 1050 Ti stepped it up with an average of 69 giggity. Our minimum FPS was 61 and our max was 81 frames per second. The 1050 Ti coming out as just a barely winning the competition here, I think. While both cards performed just fine, the 1050 Ti did have a higher average and a higher maximum FPS when it comes to the game. Doom Eternal was next on medium setting preset, and for some reason, trying to record Doom on the A380 somehow always breaks the recording. But we were averaging 62 FPS on medium preset. Our minimum did drop to 32 and our max hit 89. The 1050 Ti was less impressive. Both of these tests are being run on DirectX 12, not on Vulkan. Keep that in mind. Anyways, medium preset, 1050 Ti was struggling to hit above 40 frames per second. Where the 1050 Ti beat the A380 in Halo, the A380 made up for it in Doom. Next, we're gonna move on over to Warzone 2 on the low preset. The Arc A380 in Warzone 2 had an average of 69 giggity on the low preset. Our minimum, just like Halo Infinite, did drop down to 59, and our maximum hit 90 FPS. Now on the 1050 Ti, we actually had an average of 60, which was a solid surprise to me because of how old the card is itself. Our minimum did drop down to 42, but our max at one point did hit 104 frames per second, much more than the maximum frames on the A380. However, I don't think we can declare a clear winner here. I think it was very close. The max on the max FPS on the 1050 Ti was higher, but Everything else was higher on the A380, so I'm going to call that a wash. Now, finally, on the channel, we have Fortnite on a mix of medium and low settings. Now, thanks to creating this channel and testing all these graphics cards, I've actually been super into Fortnite as of late, and after I'm done recording this, I have to hop in and play the Star Wars quests. The A380 in Fortnite did give us 82 as an average, our minimum, again, trending to that 51, 50 area, and our max hit 111 FPS. The 1050 Ti gave the channel its first win in Fortnite, so it automatically wins. I'm kidding. We had an average of 85. Our minimum dropped to 33, and our maximum did hit 116 frames per second. Again, way lower minimum on the 1050 Ti, but it did perform better. I'm assuming that that massive drop came from jumping out of the bus at one point or a hitch or something. I would actually say that the 1050 Ti edged out the A380 here, but just barely, if anything. Now, keep in mind, I don't think the Arc A380 was designed specifically to game on. Until ASRock started making it, it wasn't even available here in the States. They're the ones that brought it here. It was only available overseas. The two main cards that were available in the States here were the A750 and the A770. So, I don't know. I'm assuming that the A380 was not created with gaming in mind. However, it can do a little bit. So the A380 is a great card for encoding, AV1 encoding specifically. Again, I don't think it was created with gaming in mind. I could be wrong, but it just doesn't really seem like it. Either way, both performed pretty similarly, with each edging out each other in different games. So with that being said, is the Arc A380 worth it? If you just want a game, is the Arc A380 worth it? Or should we go back a few years and is the 1050 Ti a better and cheaper option? Currently, right now, I'm seeing some dual fan 1050 Ti's on eBay for about 50 bucks. Overall, I think if we're talking dollar for dollar and blow for blow, 1050 Ti instead of the A380, if you're just looking for gaming and not looking for encoding, 1050 Ti might be the way to go, especially for the price of 50 bucks. And if your budget is in the realm of the A380 card, I mean, you could even swing over to 1060 or maybe look at a 1070 for around 100 bucks. I think if you're looking at a budget gaming option and your budget is, I might buy a brand new Arc A380 for $130, I would take that money and maybe see what's out there for 1070s and 1070 Ti's, because I know 1070s usually hover around that $100 to $130 price range. And I think you are definitely going to see a massive performance increase over the A380 when it comes to gaming performance on a 1070 than the A380 itself. Again, if you want that AV1 encoding, though, it's just a pretty tempting deal. It's a good price for what it can do for that, I think. I don't do that kind of stuff, so I'm actually not sure. But AV1 encoding is sick. And don't let anybody tell you it's not. I can't wholeheartedly recommend either of these because I don't know which one is better and I don't know your current situation. I just wanted to lay out the statistics of what I ran, running them on a 5800X, what the stats were for me, so you could form an opinion for yourself. Although I will say that for how close they were and the 1050 Ti being able to edge out the A380 in some games, 50 bucks don't sound too bad. I just wanted to interject and cut in real quick here to kind of discuss something about this channel. I'm planning on, I think, cutting back on a few of these testing videos. I still want to test my RTX 3080 for the channel and post up a couple videos for that. However, with the current GPU market and, you know, hardware in general, it gets pretty expensive. And I think we all know that, right? We all know that the GPU market right now is absolutely insane. And I'm sorry if I kind of slip over my words. This is completely unscripted. I just wanted to interject and say this in the video. For the people that do watch the video, you know, there are commenters that comment on every single video of mine. And I appreciate you so much. This channel blew up on a video about, well, I don't want to say blew up, but I went from basically 100 subscribers to 1,600 because of one video that blew up and got 130,000, 120,000 views. And that was my AI video. And I think that was just good timing. You know, the numbers don't really translate to current viewership, but that kind of gave me the itch to continue on and try harder. I wanted to increase my my production quality and things like that. So I did. However, it's just not feasible for a small channel like myself to be doing hardware videos all the time, right? I'm not Bitwit, I'm not Paul's Hardware, Linus, I'm not Jay's 2 cents. I don't get products sent to me. I don't have just an inventory of things where I can build a computer for you guys to watch every week. And it's just not affordable or feasible. I'm lucky enough in life to have a job and, you know, income that I don't have to worry about money. However, just, you know, I can't afford to buy a 4090, you know, or a 4080 or 4070 and test all these new cards. So that's why I've kind of been focusing on older budget options. But it's just not feasible for me to do that. And it's hard to find the motivation to record videos when I don't know what I'm going to do next, because I have to find something to buy. And, you know, it's not just sent to me. Not that I'm complaining, because I just like making content. But so what I think I want to do is I want to pivot the channel a little bit. Of course, I still want to do some testing videos and things like that. You know, things that I like to do. I want to test FPS on graphics cards that I get my hands on. However, I just can't do that 2 times a week, every single week, right? So they'll still be part of the channel. I don't know what else I want to focus on. I might take a week off of posting to try to figure that out, but I think I want to focus more on tech news, gaming news, things like that. Tech news more than gaming news, but I mean, we've done a couple things where we talked about like Iron Mace's lawsuit for Dark and Darker, you know, and that video did pretty well. So yeah, just kind of what I'm passionate about in the tech industry, in the tech field, and maybe we'll go back to doing some like ticket review Fridays where I go over, you know, tickets that I had at my job and we try to figure out how to fix issues. But yeah, hardware reviews and builds and stuff like that, just not super feasible for me right now. So maybe in the future. However, like I said, I'll keep doing them as I can get my hands on stuff, but it's not what the channel's main focus is going to be on going forward. Unless it becomes that way in the future. However, like I said, right now, it's just not feasible. Thank you for understanding. I'll put, you know, chapters here so you can skip this whole junk if you want to. But I just wanted to let you know that going forward, we'll probably be talking about more tech news, more research, opinion-based posts about technology. Anyway, back to the video. Guys, that's the video. If you liked it, I have another one right here that I know you're going to love. It's revisiting the Arc A380 in 2023, where we run just specific gaming tests for that video. I have a whole playlist of stuff down here that I know you're going to love as well. Click on one of those, and I will see you when you get over there. Take care.